Oh.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Friday, the 18th of August. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm delighted to say we're joined bright and early by Euan Robertson. How are we doing, Euan?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Derek. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Your face is just frozen there, but yeah, we've got you back. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Right, folks, let's talk all things Rangers. It's game day tomorrow as Rangers kick off their League Cup campaign. I know how much you love the League Cup, Euan. Rangers entertaining Morton at Ibrox. Plenty to talk about, so much to talk about, actually. We'll look ahead to the PSV game. The squad, Rangers' European squad has been confirmed and is a notable absentee from the PSV squad as well. In terms of tomorrow, Euan, let's start by just looking at what the possible lineup may be from Michael Beale. Do you foresee changes to the side with one eye on Tuesday night?
I'm torn on this, Derek, because I think there should be, and I think there will be. But at the same time, I think it's so important, especially with the attacking players, to try and build up a understanding and a rhythm of the players playing together. So I'd be tempted to go quite strong early on, then make changes, because these players, I think they're still learning to gel. So Danilo, Dessers, and Lammers, I'd be tempted to play all three. Go really strong at the start, and then look to make changes early if Rangers are a couple of goals up. Morton as well. Rangers should beat Morton. They need to be beating Morton. Simple as that. But they're quite a stuffy side, Morton. They're quite physical. They're well drilled under Dougie Imrie, so they'll come and make it difficult. So I think it's important not to make too many changes. But then at the same time, I'd quite like to see Rabbi Matondo start after his cameo the other week. But so it's kind of the attacking areas I'd keep pretty strong. I'd make some changes in the fullback areas definitely, because I think James Tavernier and Borna Barisic, there's been so much put on them in the formation that Michael Beale plays. They've got to provide width. They're up and down the flank for 90 minutes. So I think Dujon Sterling will start at left back. He might have a bit of a difficulty because obviously Yilmaz, I think, is just coming back to training, so he's probably not fit enough to play. Do you put Adam Devine in? I'm not so sure.
Left back's interesting. I know from a few comments that have come in this week, I think everyone's in agreement. They want to see Euan Sterling. I think tomorrow represents a great opportunity for him to start the game. Would you not be tempted to start him instead of Tav at right back, give him a rest?
Yeah, no, I'd start Dujon Sterling at right back, definitely. It's just what to do at left back, Derek.
Right, okay.
Bring Adam Devine. Bring Adam Devine for Borna Barisic. That's the...
Yeah, well, I think Michael Beale did say, was it last week, that Ridvan should be back for the Morton game. We'll find out later on, folks, when Michael Beale conducts his press conference a little later, around about lunchtime. We'll get the chance to speak to him. We'll get an injury update. If Ridvan's fit, Euan, are you just putting Ridvan in there?
Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, if he's fit, he plays. I just think after rest, I'd play Borna Barisic against PSV though. I think he gets a lot of criticism, doesn't he, Borna Barisic, and justifiably so, I think, across the last 12 to 18 months. But if you look at it, in the last 3 games, he's provided crucial assists in all 3 games, hasn't he? The first leg against Servette, it was his ball for Dessers' goal. Against Livingston, the game was kind of a bit nervy, 1-0, and he puts a great ball for Danilo, and obviously provides the assist on Tuesday night for the goal for James Tavernier. So, as much as he does frustrate me sometimes as well, I think he stepped up in the big moments recently. I think he deserves to keep his place up against PSV.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in just on the fullbacks. Dave Fulton says Sterling at right back and Ridvan at left back if he's fit enough. Mark is from Greenock. He says, I'm hoping for at least 7-1 to Rangers, please. So not asking for much. Johnny Alcatraz raises a point. If Adam Devine can't play left back against Morton, then what's the point of him being here? We conducted a little members video earlier on in the week, myself and you and folks, on Alex Lowry's loan to Hearts, and we touched on Adam Devine and what's the best use of him this season. I think we're both in agreement, Euan, that a loan move would be beneficial for him if he's not going to get, I would say, up double figures in terms of games. I think it's better for his development that he's sent out on loan if he's not going to be getting that this season at Rangers.
Yeah, it's a good point that Johnny makes. If he's not going to play these games, then when is he going to play at Rangers? Yeah, we said on the video, I think he needs to go on loan, and the reason he's probably not been out on loan yet is because there's been injuries to Sterling and Yilmaz, so they've all needed cover in those positions. I can't see him getting too many minutes this season, but he should probably play at left back against Morton, and then you expect Leon Balogun to come in. Would you play Leon King and Leon Balogun? Is that too many changes? Would you keep one of Suter and Goldson in?
Yeah, but I'm not too sure who was it. I think it might have been Stevie during the weeks mentioned Leon King. I'm not entirely sure. I would have no qualms. Similar to Adam Devine, the comment came in: if Leon King can't be trusted to play against Morton, then what's the point? I would be tempted to play him. I know that John Suter and Connor Goldson, we all know, have come back from lengthy injury spells. I would wrap them in cotton wool ahead of Tuesday night. Leon Balogun, definitely. I'd be inclined to play the two Leons at centre back. I know there's a few comments that are coming in. We'll get to a few of them shortly, saying that you run the risk of too many changes and you want to keep a settled team, give the opportunity to gel because there is so many new players. But I think at the back, Rangers haven't looked too great, in all honesty, especially that first half over in Switzerland. But for me, I would quite like to see the two Leons at centre back. Are you playing Goldson or Suter tomorrow, Euan?
Yeah, I'm playing Balogun +1. It just depends on how both of Goldson and Suter are feeling. I think you don't want to make too many changes in defence. Especially if you're going to change both your fullbacks, presumably Robbie McCrory will come in and play as well. If you're changing both your fullbacks, your goalkeeper, I'd keep one of Suter and Goldson in. I'd change the whole midfield though. I wouldn't play Raskin, I wouldn't play Jack, I wouldn't play Cantwell. I'd rest them all for PSV. I think you've got so many options in midfield as well that you can do that.
Yeah.
Todd Cantwell's been carrying a wee thigh injury as well, hasn't he? So you wrap him in cotton wool. Nico Raskin, who I wrote about yesterday, he covered so much ground against PSV, and Ryan Jack, you don't want to play him 3 times in a week. So you'd be looking at Kieran Dowell playing.
I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but John Lundstrom never travelled to Servette due to a family issue. It remains to be seen if he'll be available at the weekend, but he would be an option. What I would like to see is Bailey Rice get minutes at the weekend, June. I don't know if you agree with that.
No, I'm a huge Bailey Rice fan. I think if the game's a certain way, then you bring him on, definitely. But you'd probably go Lundstrom, Dowell +1. You got people like Yanis Hadji, who want the game time as well. So, yeah, I think you've got to go strong, but I'd play Dessers, I'd play Danilo, I'd play Lammers, and I'd change the whole midfield.
Yeah, Jim's going for it at Yanis Hadji to start. And Colin Stewart. Morning, gents. Back up in Glasgow for a few days. Forgot how cold it is. How cold is it, Euan?
I think it's been quite warm recently. Depends where Colin's
coming from, Colin. It looks like you're coming from far afield by your profile picture anyway. But yeah.
The it's been typical kind of rain all the time and on and off rain, but in terms of actual temperature, it's not been too bad recently. Again, I'm probably acclimatised to the Glasgow weather compared to wherever Colin's coming from.
Yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from, Colin. So many Bears tuning in from far-flung places. Demo says, good shout, Derek, with the wee Rice. Great wee player. Absolutely. I want to see more of him in a Rangers jersey. I think tomorrow presents a great opportunity for him to get minutes. Tam Brown says, Hadji and Lawrence need minutes. Totally agree. We'll find out about Tom Lawrence as well, Euan, later on this afternoon. Michael Beale did say last week that he's nearing a return, which is fantastic news. We've seen them in the pre-season friendly coming on as a sub. Was it against Hamburg or was it Newcastle or Hamburg? I'm sure it was, or Olympiacos, was it?
It was one of them. It was one of them.
Yeah. But it was great to see him. What's that?
I think it might have been Hamburg he came on.
Yeah, that rings a bell. So he's another one. I'm sure we'll get an update from the manager a little later on. But in terms of the front line, like you say, Euan, it's fair to say the supporters in the main haven't been too enamoured with the forward line, the newly engineered strike force that Rangers have assembled. Cyril Dessers, Danilo and Sam Lammers. Abdallah Sima has also been brought in. Is that a concern for you going into Tuesday night, that they don't seem to be firing on all cylinders as yet?
It's not ideal, but you caveat that with just they've all came into the club this summer and it will still take time. That's why I'd go strong up front tomorrow, because I think we need to get these players to gel, and if they can get a couple of goals between them against Morton, that boosts their confidence going into the game against PSV, especially Dessers. I think he definitely starts I'd play Danilo Dessers and Lammers, try and get him to acclimatise, get a couple of goals, get the confidence up ahead of Tuesday night. But yeah, I suppose it has been a worry. I think missed chances as much as anything's been a worry. There's been Sam Lammers' chance and Danilo's chance against Servette. I mean, they were both essentially open goals and they were missed.
Yeah.
I thought Dessers looked a little bit better when he came on against Servette. He was a bit of a handful. He obviously hit the post, and there was a couple other moments I thought he looked okay. I think he just needs to get up to speed. He's had disrupted pre-season as well, so I think that's a factor when it comes to Cyril Dessers. But against PSV, they've got to be ruthless in front of goal because they're a good side. I think they've improved from last season, and Rangers can't afford to be missing glaring chances.
Yeah, absolutely. Comment just coming in just on Bailey Rice. Ronnie says, didn't Rice get an injury in the B team game? He may well have. We'll get an update on his fitness, I'm sure, a little later on. Comment coming here from Tom Montgomery. Shame on you, Tom. He says, we'll miss the game tomorrow. Got to go and watch Liverpool. An absolute disgrace, Euan. How dare he go down to Anfield and watch Liverpool when Rangers are playing tomorrow? That is unstaunch, to say the least. Yellow card for that, Tom. Interesting point you mentioned there on Robbie McCrorie. I'm totally in agreement with you, Euan. I would play him instead of Jack Butland. Jack Butland in the main, though, for you, 2 massive saves on Tuesday night. Have you been impressed with him so far?
Yeah, I don't think he's put a foot wrong yet, has he? I can't think of one mistake he's made. He looks so assured. He's very authoritative as well. He's commanding at the back. By all accounts, he's already quite a big figure in the dressing room. He's quite a leader as well. I think of all the summer signings, he's been the most impressive so far. I think just his consistency as well. Even his presence in goal, the size of him. I think he's 6'4", 6'5". He just looks like the real deal in goals, and I've been very impressed by Jack Butland so far. I think he's been a fantastic signing.
Yeah, and Robbie McCrorie is certainly not a bad goalkeeper to bring in. It remains to be seen what his future holds. I know there was reports last week Manchester United, long-term admirers of Robbie McCrorie. Of course, a lot can happen between now and the transfer window closing. What's your gut feeling on Robbie? Do you see him staying at Rangers this season? I mean, if he does go, I think, we still get John McLaughlin there, but I think the club may be forced to go into the transfer market should he depart. What's your feeling on that one?
I can't see him going in this window. I think Rangers will hold on to him. If a club like Manchester United come in, it's a difficult one. But if Robbie's his main concern seems to centre around the lack of minutes. If he goes to Manchester United, he's not going to play a lot of minutes either, is he? So I think he will move on eventually. I just don't know if it will be this window or whether it will be January or next summer. But I think Robbie McCrorie will leave Rangers eventually. But I'm not so sure it will be this window. It's been a little bit quiet on Robbie McCrorie's potential exit, hasn't it? There was rumours about Manchester United. I know it's interested from lots of clubs, but I'm not sure he'll go this window. And if he does, Rangers need to bring in another goalkeeper. Unless you put John McLaughlin up as number 2 and Kieran Wright as number 3, I think you need to bring in another goalkeeper, to be honest.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Right, let's talk transfers. One player that has been linked with the club, according to newspaper reports, is Peterborough defender Ronnie Edwards, 20-year-old English youngster. He's been tracked by a host of English Premier League sides, namely Crystal Palace, West Ham and Bournemouth. Those who keep up to date with the Rangers news on our TikTok or the YouTube shorts that we do every day would have discovered that we poured cold water on that yesterday. The club have distanced themselves from a move for Ronnie Edwards. He's not a player I'm familiar with, and I have watched Peterborough on occasion down south, but he's not someone that is at the forefront of my mind. But by all accounts, according to the Barry Fry, the Peterborough chairman, he's claimed that Rangers would not be able to afford him anyway. So you think he's going to go for big money, but it's certainly a area of the pitch you'd imagine that a reinforcement, a player, would be ideal for Rangers to bring in someone, a centre-back, just to bolster that defence.
Yeah, I mean, Barry Fry's a bit of a Dale boy, isn't he? He comes out and says a lot. Likes to sound to his own voice, so you wouldn't believe everything he says at face value. But no, when the rumours came out, I think it was Tuesday, wasn't it, Derek? I checked him out with a couple of people, and everything I heard on it was that Rangers weren't interested in him. There was nothing in it in terms of Rangers at the moment. By all accounts, he's a fantastic young defender. I think he's an England youth international, under 20s, under 21s. Big prospect at Peterborough. They'll be looking for big money for their player. But I mean, at the moment, there's no interest from Rangers. It's not one that Rangers will be doing this window as it stands. A couple of sources said that to me on Tuesday. So I can't see that happening. I do think that they'll be in the market for a centre back still in the closing weeks of the window. Could it be a loan deal? I know Michael Beale said he didn't really want to do loan deals. We obviously brought in Abdel Assima on a loan. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe one comes in on loan. Or maybe even a permanent transfer. It remains to be seen. Could also hinge on Champions League money as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, a lot of money riding on the match with PSV coming up. And that leads us nicely on, Euan, because the Champions League squads have been announced. According to the UEFA website, the Rangers squad does not include Ben Davis, Kemar Roofe, or Tom Lawrence. There is also a notable absentee for PSV. Malik Tillman is not included in their squad either. Myself and Adam spoke about the potential squads yesterday. Euan, we both agreed we'd like to see Kemar Roofe added to it, just based on the fact that the point we just touched on. I don't think the forwards have hit the ground running as yet. Are you surprised not to see Roofe in that squad? And what do you make of no Tillman in the PSV squad?
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out whether the UEFA list is updated and correct, or whether they've just put up the list from the last games. So one to check out today. I should add as well, just what I remember, there's no Michael Beale today. It's Neil Banfield, who's doing the media today. So no Michael Beale. It'll be quite interesting to hear from Banfield, because you don't really hear too much from him. I know George had a really good interview with him. I think it was the tail end of last season.
Yeah,
highly respected coach. Obviously worked at Arsenal. So it'll be interesting to hear from Neil Banfield. So no Michael Beale today. But back to the squad list. I'm not overly sure if they've been adjusted yet or what, but you'd expect a couple of players to come back into the group. Obviously, there's the limit on the squad size. So Kemar Roofe's one. He's someone, again, when you're talking about the game tomorrow, Derek, you'd be tempted to start Kemar Roofe, wouldn't you? And get him some game time, but you can't weigh that up with wanting to get the players acclimatised together. But yeah, I'd expect a couple of them to come back in. Ben Davies, it's certainly went quiet. I know he's back in training, isn't he? So could he feature? Could he play against Morton? If he's fit enough, he'd play Balogun and Davies. I completely forgot about him when I was naming my team earlier, because he seems to be, he's kind of a little bit mystery around why he's not been playing. But it'd be a surprise. I'd definitely like Roofe to be in the squad, and you'd probably put Ryan Matondo in as well, wouldn't you?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, impressed when he came on against Livingston last weekend. Just on that squad list, folks, just to confirm, that is per UEFA's website. We'll still get confirmation from Rangers. So as Euan said, it may just be they've kept it from the previous round. So we'll get a confirmation on that a little later on today, I would imagine. Just on Neil Banfield, of course, taking the presser. CR says, Walter used to give the cup games to Ali. It's completely normal. I doubt that Neil Banfield will be taking the team tomorrow, Euan, and Michael Beale sat in the stand, unless something horribly goes wrong and he's bursting down to the touchline, Walter style. But it's an interesting dynamic. It will be interesting to hear from Neil, as you touched on. Joshua had a great interview you can find on the website, folks, with them. Go and check it out. But can you see that happening in this Rangers vintage, Neil Banfield taking the cup games?
No, I think it will be Michael Beale, but I think Neil Banfield. It's quite nice to get a change, isn't it? People always say that Michael Beale talks too much, so maybe he's having a little rest. I like hearing from Michael Beale. His press conferences are always quite in depth, quite lengthy. So just get that change up in the mail and to speak to someone different is quite good. You don't really see it too much down south, do you? It's always the managers, but up here sometimes they do change it up sometimes.
Certain clubs that I've covered down here, the managers used to like sending up the number 2 if A, they couldn't be bothered speaking to the media, or B, they'd get gubbed or C, they were at risk of saying something that would get them into trouble. I won't name the clubs, but yeah, you certainly found that down south at various places. But yeah, listen, it'll be interesting to hear from Neil later on this afternoon about the game tomorrow. Other big news yesterday, Euan, interested to get your take on it, affecting the first Old Firm derby of the season when Celtic come to Ibrox on Sunday, the 3rd of September. Celtic have refused Rangers' ticket offer of 708 tickets for the fixture. So they will have no away supporters inside Ibrox. Rangers will demand that Celtic honour their obligation to provide tickets for the second instalment of the fixture later on in the campaign. And I'm sure the club will accept those tickets. What do you make of this, Euan?
It's going to rumble on for years, isn't it? The ticket now between both sets of clubs, and you can understand, how it originated and stuff like that. And I think it does still split opinion amongst fans, doesn't it? You've got some fans that are quite happy with having no away allocation for Celtic in these games, and you've got some fans who want the full allocations back.
Yeah,
I can't see a situation where the full allocation comes back ever, or anytime soon. I think
no.
I can't envisage that happening. I think what you might see eventually is the kind of European allocations. Was it 2,500, 3,000?
Yeah.
I could see that maybe being a kind of a remedy between the two clubs in a few years' time. But it seems like it's one that's going to rumble on. And Celtic are within their rights not to take the tickets. I don't know how their supporters will feel, because you imagine there'll be an element of their fans who'd want to go to the game, wouldn't there? And you imagine that there'll be loads of Rangers fans who want to go to Celtic Park, so that's why Rangers are taking the tickets for the next Old Firm game at Parkhead. So, listen, it's something that's not going to... Fans are going to be split either way, especially with the season ticket demands at Ibrox and having to move fans. That's not going to happen. Rangers want to have those season tickets, money coming in, so you can understand it from the club's point of view, limiting the allocation, but it's one that just divides opinion, isn't it? There's so many fans who are quite happy with it, and there's so many fans who want the allocations back up so they can go to the away games. It's a difficult one, Derek, isn't it?
It is, and I remember doing a piece last season about, I can't remember what game it was, but I spoke to Gregory Vignal, Nacho Novo and Davy Robertson about playing at Parkhead, of course, when there was no Rangers fans there, and they say it just takes away from the atmosphere. You love that little pocket in there, and silencing Celtic and running over to the Rangers supporters. And by all accounts, there should be a small section of them at Parkhead for that game just at the end of the year. Not quite sure, is it the 2nd? Is it the 30th of January or the 2nd? The 30th of January, 30th December or 2nd of January. I think it's sometime around about the turn of the year, of course.
Yeah,
so, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning is behind it. I think they obviously would like the whole broom loan once again, but like you, those days I think are long gone. So it remains to be seen what the future holds with regards to that. Lots of comments coming in on that. Ian Thompson raises a point. I'm happy that more Rangers fans will get to see the game, regardless of who started what. I think the atmosphere is great without the Celtic fans. We've seen that the game last season, the win, when Michael Beale got his first win over Celtic, Euan, it'll be some atmosphere there on the Sunday, the 3rd of September, even though there is no arch rivals supporters in the ground.
Yeah, see, to be honest, it does give Rangers more of an advantage at the home game, doesn't it? I think it does with there being no away fans.
It gives an advantage to both teams with no fans in the ground. There's no doubt about it.
I think it does, and it puts kind of more, not pressure as such, but more impetus on Rangers to go out and get that win.
Yeah.
On September the 3rd, it'll be a full house full of Rangers fans. So, yeah, the atmosphere. I was at the game, obviously the last Old Firm at Ibrox, and Rangers got that win, and the atmosphere was really good. The other thing as well is, I know the results haven't went Rangers' way at Hampden last season against Celtic, but from a spectacle point of view, when you do have half at half in the Hampden games as well, you do still have that spectacle normally at least once a season, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic when you've got both sets of fans going at it for 90 minutes, and you do have it in those games. So From my personal view, I think the Euro allocation would be good for the Old Firm games and the Scottish Premiership. Then you do have that kind of bigger half and half games at Hampden as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure, by the way, that Morton will bring out a fair few to Ibrox tomorrow. They're usually well supported. Let's get to one or two comments before we wrap up for the day. Just incidentally, folks, for members to the YouTube channel, I will be speaking to a PSV journalist a little later on this morning. That will be available early this afternoon. So, yeah, we'll get a bit of an insight into Tuesday night's opponents. Graham Corkin, good friend of the show, says, morning all. Hopefully a good win tomorrow with minutes for players on the fringes of the squad. Also get some goals for the strikers to get a boost going into the PSV game. Yeah, that's what we're all hoping for, Graham. And just touching on it, just want to hark back to point on Sterling at the top of the show, Euan. Tim Sharp says, does Sterling fit into our system of attacking fullbacks? It's an interesting point, isn't it? He's not a James Tavernier. Does he, I mean, should we be expecting him to be bombing up and down the wing like Tavernier does, or do we need to change the system?
He's absolutely rapid, Dujon Sterling. So he's quicker than any fullback I think Rangers have in their books. I'm a massive fan of Dujon Sterling. I've been kind of banging his drum all summer. I think he's going to be a really good signing for Rangers, and I think that just from speaking to people who know him and stuff like that, he's came here to play football, so it'll be interesting to see where he fits in longer term into Michael Beale's plans. But I don't think technically he's going to provide what James Tavernier does, and certainly I don't think he's going to match what James Tavernier provides in terms of goals and assists. But I think he's someone that can get up and down the pitch. He's really quick. I think he prefers the defensive side of the game. He's more of a kind of defensive fullback than James Tavernier, but I think he definitely can impact the game in terms of the attacking areas.
Yeah, and hopefully he gets, I'm sure he will get a run out tomorrow, hopefully from the start. Right, we'll wrap up there, folks. John C. Turner raised an interesting point. If you enjoy these briefings, hit the like button. Hundreds watching and only 17 likes. Derek, isn't that bad? That's very kind of you to say so, John. Yeah, get the likes in, folks. That'll be greatly appreciated. Just a reminder, there will be the draw. I'm not sure if it's been conducted yet. It can't be for those tickets for the Danish evening on Friday, the 25th of August. 2 tickets were given away to 2 lucky subscribers at the Rangers review table, where myself, Euan, Johnny, Joshua, and other Stevie will be there as well. We'll be at that table as we hear from Eric Bo Anderson, Peter Lovenkrantz, and Brian Laudrup about their time at Ibrox. There'll be a meet and greet, an auction or a raffle. I think it's one or the other, I'm sure. And there will also be a Danish-themed menu on offer. Cannot wait for that, Euan.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be a good Friday night. But I think Rangers are away in Dingwall on the Saturday morning, aren't they? It's a 12:30 kick-off. I've not had the call for Johnny trying to set me up yet, but that might be a bit of a difficult. A few beers are consumed that night. Travel up to Dingwall at 7 in the morning to cover the game. So, it should be a good night. It'll be good to whoever wins the competition to meet them as well. It's always nice, and obviously we'll all be together as well. So it should be a great night.
Yeah. Cannot wait for it. Obviously, tomorrow we'll have all the usual pre-match and post-match reaction from Ibrox, folks. We hope you can tune in for that. I'll be not here on Monday. It'll be Euan or Joshua on the Oki. I am heading off later on to Ibiza on a stag do, believe it or not. Kevin and Perry go large style. So hopefully I come back in one piece, and I'll be back on Tuesday morning as we gear up for that huge Champions League playoff first leg against PSV. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the show. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to Euan also, and we'll speak to you a little later on. Enjoy your Friday. Bye for now.